The internet is mad about Mark Andrews. I'm seeing it on Facebook. Everybody's wondering about Isaiah Likely. Should they pick him up? How much fab to blow? What should they do? We're going to talk about Isaiah Likely right now. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. Move your thumb over on your phone. Just give it a tap, because we're deep diving these players every day. Those hot players on the waiver wire, those guys making noise, those guys falling down the depth chart, those guys who are doing good, those guys are doing sucky. We're also helping you set your lineups. It's all right here. Multiple videos a day. Pick what you want. Click that button though. Stop missing out. We've been here before with Isaiah Likely with the series as we do our deep dives. Usually we cut 9 minutes on him. Almost 10. So maybe we get about 9 minutes a day, maybe not. But Isaiah Likely, 26 fantasy points. Everybody's FOMOing over that. Should you FOMO? Should you not? We're going to look at the numbers and you can make that case yourself. But 12 targets yesterday, a 30% target share. That is elite. That is top tier, especially for a tight end. That's hard to match week for week at the tight end spot. Tight ends don't hit 30% targets. Usually top tight ends, 20 to 25 range. Could we be there? 98 air yards, 8 out of 8.2. So we're getting those short targets. And you look at the snaps with Mark Andrews. We're neck and neck. We're neck and neck. We're getting opportunity here. We're getting opportunity to get these targets and rack it up. 53 snaps in yesterday's game. And looking at his production last year, when Mark Andrews was out, we had 4 tight end 1 weeks. We were productive. We were the guy. And that just carried over into last night. And you look when Mark Andrews was out. Missed 7 games. Cracked fibula. So why not give him the full workload? Because we're coming back from a cracked fibula. On top of that, you got the taste of Isaiah Likely last year. And now you want more of that taste. And you got more of that taste last night. That is what they're really saying. You look at the schedule here, and you look at it going forward, and you look at the Chiefs. This seems like a situation where, if you really thought about it, they were going to operate as a fast-paced offense. They're going against a team that's locked down last year against wide receivers, tight ends getting targets. Why not Isaiah Likely when you think about it and you look at the targets? Him and Zay Flowers, short, quick targets. 8.2, 8 out for Likely, 5.4 for Flowers. I want to point this out because I'm not going to do a video on it, but watch Rashad Bateman. He's getting deep targets. He got 5, which is okay, but deep targets, not for your traditional redraft. Daily fantasy football as a what-the-heck play, and I would look at the matchups where it's more of a pass funnel, and they're going to stretch it deep, and if they can get pushed. We'll cover that later, possibly in some videos when the time comes, but watch those numbers. But looking at the Chiefs last year, locked down at wide receiver. So one thing you can say about this matchup, the Chiefs pushed the pace, so you got to push the pace with them. And they also lock down at wide receiver. So how are you going to combat that? Short, quick passing attempts, running the football, getting it out quick though. And that's what they did. And they went with Likely here because Likely was likely to do it because he did it in the back end of the season last year. And on top of that, he's a good tight end. He's a very good tight end prospect that we're looking at. Now that I think about it, Likely should have been mentioned a lot more in my videos over the last few weeks. But when I look at Mark Andrews, I did not talk about him at all because I hate tight ends. And I wasn't very interested in Mark Andrews, but I should have talked about him some more. But Isaiah Likely, a good prospect. Obviously, I did 2 of these videos on him prior. I do 1 a year. I might do 2 this year. Hopefully he keeps playing well and I can do 2 this year. Maybe 3 or 4. Maybe, because I will cut multiple videos on a player if they keep hitting and they keep sitting on waiver wires. But you don't need him because you want to wait till Sunday. You got to wait till Sunday anyways. But wait till Sunday. But he is a priority tight end claim. The thing about tight ends, if you got a top tier tight end, you probably don't need to do so. You don't need to rack up tight ends. But if you got a middle row tight end, say you drafted the 7th, 8th best tight end in your draft, the 7th tight end off the board or whatever you want to call it, you're probably looking at this. And then again, streaming tight end is something I like to do. He's a tight end definitely to stream with because the targets are going to be there. off and on, and tight ends are off and on too. So he might have some down games too, although he's hitting and giving you tight end 1 production. Because you got to remember, usually it's the top 5 tight ends. Sometimes it stretches out to 8. Sometimes it's like only 3. That gives you fantasy relevant results. And then like the tight end 8, 9, 10 are only a few points more than the tight end 25. Think about it in those terms. So if you got a tight end that's rock solid, you want to hold on to him. But on top of that, you do not want to over-evaluate or overhold a tight end that's just giving you so-so production, because you can use that roster spot to play the matchups. And on top of that, you don't want a tight end like that as your tight end too, because there's wide receivers and running backs that you could be chasing as well. But likely is a priority tight end. Now on the Mark Andrews, if you're wondering about him, he shouldn't have been drafted so high. Wide receiver and running back is where the money was planted on. That's probably why I didn't talk about him so much now that I think about it, because I was heavy into wide receivers and running backs, and I don't really care much about tight end, and it's really how you strategize. I like to stream tight ends. I like to get them in the later picks, and then on top of that, if I'm going to pay up for a tight end, it's going to be somebody I like, somebody I'm really wanting to roll with, a guy coming back from injury. Again, I'm not going to mention him too much, but again, during that portion, wide receiver, running back, that part of the draft should have been hammered hard, if not going with one of those top tight ends that is a little bit more safer, not coming back from injury. Mark Andrews, though, you're going to be skeptical the whole year. He's not going to give you the ROI. He might have some up and down games. He might have his moments, but likely he's going to cut into it, and it might be up and down for both tight ends. But again, Mark Andrews still good at football, but we're also getting to the point where you got 2 good tight ends. You can use them both. You're going to be flexible. And then when you look at this matchup, this is a team that was getting the ball out quick, and you want to get it to your guy that has more and better movement skills. That's likely because you want to be fast-paced. So those fast break games, you're definitely throwing in likely. I dumped a bunch here, so make sure to let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.